Good evening and welcome to the Monday, June 23rd, 2025 Maplewood City Council Manager Workshop. City Clerk Sint, would you please do the roll call for us?
Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Councilmember Villavicencio.
Here.
Councilmember Cave.
Here.
Councilmember Juniman.
Here.
Mayor Abrams.
I'm here as well. Thank you. Council members, would someone like to make a motion to approve our agenda?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Lee, seconded by Cave, the motion to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have no unfinished business tonight. We do have 3 items of new business. The first one is the intent to close a meeting to provide the City Council with a security briefing. Mr. Sable, do you want to tee this up for us?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Periodically, it's important that we continue to review council safety, both in the room and out in the public. And I think in light of the events of the past week with political assassinations, I think it's a proper due diligence to talk about security measures internally inside the organization and externally in terms of support for elected body. And so we are going to go in and discuss those items and then with a high-level report out when we return from closed session.
So council members, that requires us to make a motion. Would someone like to make that motion?
Pursuant to Minnesota statutes, section 13D.05, subdivision 3D, I move to close the regular meeting and go into closed session to discuss security in the city council chambers and elsewhere, including related facilities, systems, and procedures.
Second.
Juniman, seconded by Villavicencio. The motion as written in our council packet. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And so we're going to go into closed session. We will be back. I'm going to call our meeting back to order from closed session. And next on our agenda, we have a presentation by Ramsey County Manager Ling Becker and Ramsey County Commissioner Kelly Miller. I am going to turn it over to you. Welcome.
Perfect. I'll start off and then Ling will join me in a couple minutes. So, bonjour everyone. Kelly Miller, Nisha Ngachwe, we win a cause, Awi Tabi Gijin Kukwe, Indum Jaba, Magizi Indumdam, Mrs. Saigan, Indum Jaba. So, Maplewood Dash Inda. So, I just introduced myself in my Ojibwe name. I'm a big believer in that. I said my name first, then my English name. I'm part of the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. I am from the Magizi clan, so that's the Eagle clan, and I live in Maplewood, so I always make sure to include Maplewood in my intro. So thank you guys for having me here tonight. It's great to be here in Maplewood. I'm Kelly Miller, as you know, your District 7 Commissioner, and I have the honor of representing Maplewood, North St. Paul, and White Bear Lake on the Ramsey County Board. I'm just going to say, whoa. So my role as a commissioner is really about being a link, connecting our residents, our city staff, and our council with the county's resources and making sure we're working together for a stronger, healthier, and welcoming community. So I come from a background in social service delivery, the nonprofit management, and I'm passionate about making sure that the county delivers services effectively, efficiently, and for the people who need them the most. I also want to note that I'm a proud Maplewood resident. I like to always add that in there. So do we have do you guys have the PowerPoint at all? I wonder if we can, it's like, so I'm just like rambling here. I wonder if you guys can see.
Commissioner, the packet is, the PowerPoint is in the deck, so you can.
I can keep going and you guys will
Yep,
be good?
you can keep going,
Okay,
yep.
perfect. Do you want to come join me up here, Lee? Sure. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to the next page, to slide number 3. So the county board is more than just a legislative body. We're advocates for our communities and stewards of the county's resources. We help set the vision, approve the budget, make policies that impact the lives of people every day. That means making decisions about infrastructure, public safety, social services, and environmental stewardship, and making sure those decisions match the priorities and needs of the people we serve in partnership with cities, just like Maplewood. So most importantly, we're here to be a conduit, connecting residents with services, supporting staff doing vital work, and making sure our voices in our community have a path heard. And I just want to say Ramsey County is very fortunate to have Ling Becker as serving as our county manager. She brings a deep understanding of public-private partnerships and a real passion for making sure the county and city services work hand in hand. So I'll kick it over to Ling to do her introduction.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner. Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm really excited to be here. I think I've been here a few times in different capacities over my career, both working on economic development and now, and then as a workforce director and now as the county manager. So I just wanted to share a little bit background of myself. I come from an immigrant family. My parents came here when I was 5 years old. That's you guys have in front of you a picture of a slightly older, but my sister was 6 months old when we got here. And I had an early public sector career. When I was 15, I worked at a local community center, working at the concession stand. And by the time I was 18 and just getting ready for college, I was working in the city manager's office. And really, that came because of a lot of people who took an interest in me, and everybody from the administrative assistants in the city hall all the way to the city manager himself at the time. So really grateful for that trajectory to learn about local government. Throughout my career, I've done a lot of public-private partnerships, and that's been something that I really appreciate and value. And also, I have a deep appreciation for city-county relationships. And I've been trying to build that relationship with your city administrator as well as all the other ones in our community, making sure that our large bureaucratic county, is recognizing the customer that the cities are to us and the work that you need to get done and how sometimes you need information or partnership from the city. I started out doing a lot of different public sector careers, but then I ended up in economic and workforce development. And why I ended up landing in workforce development is, as I was doing economic development, I really saw that there was the land building and capital a lot of times that we focused on doing deals. And then it all of a sudden, dawned on me that it is the people side that actually makes a community unique and actually is that investment that we need to really leverage the trajectory of everything that's possible for a community. So by focusing on workforce, our school district partnerships, trying to think about how we can build a workforce of today and tomorrow, I think that is how we build better communities. And so I was grateful to be appointed the county manager in September of 2024. I had been the workforce director for the county for 6 years prior to that. And so there has been a lot of advantages to actually understanding a lot of the county systems while taking on this new responsibility. So I look forward to working with all of you.
So then I'll take it over. So at the core, our vision is about creating a community where all live and are valued and can thrive. That guides everything we do. So making sure that every resident, family, and business has access to the support and opportunities that they deserve. The mission captures that focus. So we're here to work with to make life in Ramsey County better, more accessible, and more helpful for everyone. The goals you see here on this slide are strengthening families and neighborhoods, promoting economic prosperity, making sure services are accessible, and being responsible with resources are more than words. They're really how we measure ourselves every day. And then, so our values, the Ramsey County values, our values like investing in people, serving with integrity, and advancing equity are a foundation for how we operate as a county. These aren't just abstract ideas. They show up in how we treat residents, how we partner with communities, and how we hold ourselves accountable as leaders. And I'm proud to work for a county that strives to live its values every day. And then the next slide is just a photo of some of our services and kind of in happening. And then if we go to the next slide, which is our service team. So to accomplish this, the county operates through 4 service teams and 1 strategic team, making sure that we have staff and resources aligned to meet the needs of every resident in every focus area. So each team works together across departments to create a seamless experience for people we serve, from economic development to public safety to public health and beyond. So the goal is to really break down those silos across departments and services and focus on making sure that regardless of why someone is reaching out to the county, the experience is respectful, accessible, and helpful. And then the next slide just shows some links to our county's strategic priorities and areas. And then Ling,
Yeah.
get over for your
All right, I'm going to give you some updates as well. So as I mentioned, the city-county partnerships is really important to us. I've been having monthly opportunities to connect with our city administrators. We've done everything from meet with our public works staff, meeting with our park staff, talking about our property tax and the processes, and so that'll only continue. In addition, I wanted to just give an update. We've had quite a bit of leadership transitions at the county, but we're almost to the point where we've filled most of those executive leadership roles, and as a part of a natural transition, usually sometimes when there's an administrator that changes. But I do want to spend the bulk of my time talking to you a little bit about the uncertainties of the federal and state budgets and what that means for the county. And then I'll do a little bit of county highlights and then just talk about our biennial budget process. So I'm on slide 13. We have really unprecedented times. There's the tri-realities of the state budget, the federal budget, and what we're calling federal actions. And those are those executive orders that have been coming through from the president. And so I talk about the federal orders in particular as a prism of impacts. There's very direct impacts, which are like when we get a work stoppage order, which we did, like 24 hours, no more money, we got to stop doing that. And so that happened in some of our public health services, and we also anticipate there might be others. That would be a very direct impact. I think it's also really important to think about these indirect and collateral impacts on communities. And as cities, I think these are important for you too. The indirect impacts our indirect might be your direct impacts. It could be road projects that aren't happening. It could be, funding that you receive. But other indirect impacts, I will say, are things that are happening to our nonprofit community, and those are pretty serious when you're the county service safety net. One example is, you might have heard of Hubert Humphrey Job Corps. It is located just on the border of Falcon Heights and St. Paul. It is the state Job Corps. It's a federally funded program. 161 young people live there who are trying to work on their GED because they have not been able to do so through a normal high school experience. They were just told that they need to stop services. And so those are, for example, nonprofits like the Senna Foundation have not been able to do interns or AmeriCorps. So there's a lot of examples if we would look at our nonprofit community. Why that's important for all of us is we care about the well-being and prosperity of our residents, and when their other needs aren't being met by some of the other areas that provide that social safety net, they tend to come to cities and counties for their resources. In addition, there's a lot when it comes to collateral impacts. One of the best examples I can give is when you hear about federal agencies that are getting reduced. Example would be the Department of Veteran Services. When they have less staff, our Veteran Services Department is processing veteran benefits. And so it makes it harder for us to do our work, which then indirectly might make it difficult for them to make their house payments in a city like Maplewood or be able to get the resources that they need. And so all those things impact all of us. Data elimination is something that I don't think has gotten as much attention, but it really has happened. We have seen a lot of data come pulled off of the internet when it comes to disparity data, health data. And why that's important is it helps us write grants. It helps us to understand if our funding is being targeted to things that are impactful. And some of that data might be hard to get back. I think another area that is pretty significant, both for because we have a large workforce, and so do you in the city, it's a little bit demoralizing as public servants to have this attack on public service when there's a lot of people working really hard every day trying to do the work that they're doing. And then the last is just the trauma and harm to the community with all these orders and kind of this chaos in the sense of people don't maybe feel as comfortable coming to the county for services because they don't know, if there might be actions that might, negatively impact their families. On slide 15, I have a QR code there. The state MMB actually created a dashboard where you can actually go and search by county and see they have temporary disruptions, permanent cancellations, and court-impacted actions. So you can see by county and by project, really, a lot of public works projects, but you'll be able to see what things have been impacted. In addition, I want to just call to light there's actually two things happening at the federal level. I've been learning a lot more about how federal legislative budgets get built. But there's the reconciliation bill, which you've been hearing a lot about in the news, and then there's the federal budget. Both, they're disconnected in a lot of ways. They're not exactly the same. But the reconciliation bill has a lot of impacts when it comes to Medicaid and SNAP in particular. And so I have some stats for you. In 2023, 37% of Ramsey County residents received Medicaid at least 1 month a year. There are 85,000 MA cases in Ramsey County. We have actually 35,000 SNAP cases. So the things that this bill does is actually increase the complexity. There's a lot of additional eligibility requirements. Our state technical infrastructure is not equipped to handle some of the things that they're going to ask us to do. So what that's going to mean is delays and difficulties for our staff and increased costs. And so these are all things that like cities should, as caring for your residents, should be aware of because many of your own residents are impacted by these services. In addition, the federal budget, not the reconciliation bill, but the actual budget itself, has some foreshadowing of ending Section 8 vouchers, which is actually a pretty significant thing for our communities, reducing the funding for continuum of care homelessness programs, cuts to CDC, and also what we would call SAMHSA, which is our substance abuse and mental health grants. And so speaking of mental health, Medicaid is the largest funder of mental health in the state of Minnesota. So you see kind of these converging things happening. And then the other one that's pretty significant is the elimination of community development block grant. And I know our Community and Economic Development Department has been here, and some of those programs actually fund much of the housing and some other programs that we have in the county. So now I'll just kind of shift to a couple of the projects. I'm sure you're very familiar with Rice Creek Commons. It was the Twin Cities Army ammunition plant that was a Superfund site. We're happy to say, as you can see on the map, we have called what we call the thumb parcel, which is the red, and then we have the California parcel. It is a 427-acre parcel, all of it together, and it's estimated value is $1 billion. And so the focus has been over time to increase that to the tax base. Obviously, as many of you know, Ramsey County is a fully developed county. For us to be able to increase our bottom number when it comes to increasing our tax base, we've got to increase the tax base itself. So we're working really hard on that, and we're happy to report that we did have we have a business moving in on Outlot A, and it's a manufacturing company, a high-tech manufacturing company that relocated from Fridley. That's 10 acres of the 40-acre thumb parcel. The other 30 acres have been very much we've been in conversation, and so we're excited that that's going to happen soon. We also have a development agreement with Aladdis working through the California parcel. So all that is through a joint development authority, which is a combination of the City of Arden Hills and Ramsey County Commissioners. Similar to that, we also have another piece of redevelopment that we continue to push forward, and that is the park at River's Edge. It is along the Mississippi River. When I get excited talking about this, I often remind people, like, how many cities have you been where there's development along a river where you can enjoy a lunch or walk or those types of things? I mean, my son-in-law lived in San Antonio. They built all that up on basically like a stream, you know? And here we have the mighty Mississippi. So we feel like this is an underutilized asset today. I can't invite you to go and experience quite the commercial part of the river. We do have some parkway, I guess, when you go on the over on the St. Paul Park side. But there's more potential here, and this is an opportunity that the county is really excited about, and we continue to put forth both the idea of a public realm, which would be a park that could be enjoyed by all, as well as commercial development, as well as housing. So that continues to be a priority of the county. The other one, county project I want to talk about, and we can talk about anything else that you guys might be interested in. I noticed the deck did not talk about our new recycling and energy center, which is over it's in next slide. You're going to do it. Okay, sorry. I knew I was missing something, so I'm glad you're going to do it. So I'll turn back to what's the appropriate response initiative. We are grateful to be one of the the counties that actually has all our cities in our county all using our 911 call center. So there's a lot of efficiencies and innovation that we can do because we're all working together. I was grateful that your city manager was able to come with us to go see the new space. We'd love for anybody, it was remodeled last year, would love for any of you to see that. One of the things that we've been working really closely with, and I want to thank your police chief for your director of public safety for partnership as well, but we've been exploring more ways to send more appropriate responses. A lot of times, we are not sending the right response, and that can either lead to potentially harm, but also it's not the best efficient use of resources. And so we've had embedded social workers, and that's some information that we can get you more detail about as well. But that's been a really transformative thing to embed social workers into the 911 call center. We have some people that actually call the 911 call center, the same people, over 25 times a day. And so instead of taking time off a dispatcher, they're talking to a social worker now, connecting to resources. So there's multiple types of responses: public health, community response, kind of the traditional response, and all of this has to be done in partnership with public safety. And so I will say I've been really grateful for both the leadership of City Manager Sable and your Director of Public Safety to really help us reset, to be at the table where we're listening to community, but we also need to listen to public safety, and it's a both and. And so we're really excited that this can move forward closely with the city. And then I'll just wrap up my portion, and we can take any questions you want. I just outlined the city or the county's biennial budget process for you, and so the dates are there, and I've been sharing with Mike lots of dates around property taxes and all the things that come with it. So I'm happy to talk more about that if you need.
All right, so I'm gonna quickly go through. I am on slide 31.
Oh, I had the wrong page.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So my committees and commissions, this is a list of them. I sit, I believe, on over 30. I think you counted, Kathleen counted. Some of the ones that I'll note are the Workforce Innovation Board, the Ramsey Washington Recycling and Energy Board, the Metropolitan Emergency Services Board, the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District. For the Association of Minnesota Counties, I sit on the Environment and Natural Resources Committee, and then for the National Association of Counties, or NACO, is the Environment, Energy, and Land Use Committee as well. So a lot of energy, environment, sustainability, all of that. So next slide is my priorities as a commissioner are simple, right? Creating prosperity for everyone, health and wellness, environmental sustainability, and really strengthening and leveraging our community partnerships. I recently learned that one of my top Clifton strengths is being an arranger. So determining how all pieces and resources can be arranged to maximize productivity, which was pretty cool. And these aren't just priorities aren't just words. They're more of like a roadmap for making sure that our work has a direct positive impact on the people that we serve. We're focusing on supporting families, growing economic opportunity, making sure services work for people, and helping address the big picture issues like climate resiliency and equity. It's about making sure that when someone needs our help or access to services, that the county is a place that welcomes and supports them. So the one-stop, so I'm especially proud of our new environmental center. It's a great example of how the county is making it easier for people to reduce waste, to reuse, and to recycle. It's open, it's free, and it's designed with the community in mind, making it simple to drop off hazardous waste, electronics, or household items that can be reused. It was built with sustainability top of mind, from the solar panels and to the UV charging stations to using recycled materials for construction. Our goal is to make it as convenient as possible for people in Maplewood and across the county to reduce waste and live more sustainable. And going on to the next slide is just some project highlights. And it's also great to note that it was built with community input and feedback throughout the process. And I like to say this, it was built ahead of schedule and under budget, because that is always important. So going on to slide number 29, I wanted to highlight the food scraps pickup program. It's currently being only offered in Maplewood and North St. Paul in Ramsey County right now. It's a free voluntary food scrap recycling program. If the scraps are collected using a special bag that are provided by the program, each household can get, I believe, 130 bags, so it's like 2 orders a year. The food scrap bags are then placed in your trash dumpster, and then after collection, the food scraps are separated using a robotic sorting technology that's turned into compost. It's pretty cool at the R&EM. Have you guys been there yet? I think, yeah. You're like, oh yeah, we know all about this. It's pretty exciting. My kids, I was quickly how amazed that they learned to put their leftovers, or if they were done with dinner, into the little green pail rather than the trash. So kids are great. And I'll also be door knocking with some people in Maplewood next week about this program. So the next slide, I also wanted to highlight some of the investments we're making in transportation and infrastructure right here in Maplewood. So this year and the years ahead, you'll see a lot of work focusing on making sure that our roads are safe and well maintained, from pavement preservation and mill overlay projects, all the way to incorporating bike and pedestrian improvements where it makes sense. And these projects aren't just about repairing concrete or asphalt. They're about making it safer and more convenient for people who bike, walk, ride, or and drive throughout the city. And they also support the economic activity and keep Maplewood and the surrounding communities connected. And then, and looking out to the future through 2029 and beyond, we're aligning these investments with our other priorities, like supporting access to public transportation, addressing climate impacts like stormwater and flooding. And then this, I also just want to note the scale, timing, and scope of some of these pieces in Maplewood could change based on the transit investments that would fulfill the transit corridor plans. And now to slide 37. Finally, I want to highlight some exciting, an exciting new tool for the county is the Economic Development Authority, or the EDA legislation. So this gives us more flexibility to support economic development and better align our efforts with the needs of businesses and communities across the county. So this doesn't raise taxes or change how the HRA levy currently operates. It simply allows us to do more with the resources that we already have. So cities have the choice to opt in or opt out. So you have a voice in how and where these resources can make the biggest impact for our businesses. And then this is a significant step towards connecting housing and economic opportunity through a more coordinated, community-focused approach. Previously, our HRA was limited to funding only housing-related projects. So while this is an important foundation, it didn't give us really room to support small businesses or job creation or critical economic infrastructure that helps make housing accessible and communities strong. So this new legislation, we can now use HRA levy more strategically, making deeper investments in small businesses support, revitalizing commercial corridors, strengthening workforce development, and bolstering the stability of neighborhoods we serve. And I also want to kind of note that this is especially critical now as counties across the state brace for significant federal funding cuts. This being able to have housing and social programs. The EDA gives us the tools to stretch every local dollar further and smarter, and to build stronger, more resilient economic foundation for Maplewood and the whole county. So the next slide, it tells us about Ramsey County Business Support Programs. So I'm just going to quickly highlight some of those. So we have programs that help businesses launch, grow, and stay strong, from startups to established companies. Open to Business offers hands-on support with planning and financing. CEO Now and CEO Next helps owners build their skills and expand their ventures. Through the Reimagination Resource Center, we support local businesses, organizations serving Maplewood and beyond. And then Ramsey County Means Business.com is the website that makes it easy to find tools, connections, and opportunities right here in the county for businesses. So that's a quick snapshot of some of the priorities and projects that we're working on at the county level. I'm looking forward if you have any questions at this time and how we can, continue on. And thank you for your time and your partnership.
Thank you. We really appreciate our partnerships with the county. When you were talking about the having social workers over at the dispatch center, I remember during COVID, we partnered with Ramsey County on an initiative to bring a social worker and embed them in our police department. And I have to tell you, that has been a game changer. And it wouldn't have happened without our partnership with Ramsey County. So thank you for that. And I look forward to future partnerships where we can work on things together. Commissioner and County Manager, thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions or any comments that you'd like to make? Okay.
I just
then
want
thank
to
you.
add one note that we are always, we have a newsletter, the District 7 newsletter. Please sign up for that. And if there's any events or anything you would like to share as well, please send them our way. Thinking of you, Joe. So then we can able to share that as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you
really
guys for your
appreciate you
time.
coming tonight.
Yep,
Thanks
thank
a
you.
lot. All right, next on our agenda tonight, we have a presentation concerning Habitat for Humanity. And Ms. Parr, this is you're going to kick us off on this one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I am going to kick you off tonight on this one. We are continuing our conversation regarding micro-strategies to support housing. We've had many, and this is one additional one to that. As a part of that, we have a number of Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity staff in the audience this evening. They're going to join you and talk a little bit about some of their programming, some of their partnerships, and how they've been successful in helping provide affordable housing throughout the Twin Cities. And with that, I'll turn it right over to them.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. We really appreciate being here and are looking forward to the discussion. Thank you so much. My name is Emily Kirkfold, and I'm the Government Affairs Manager at Twin Cities.
What is your name again?
Emily Kirkfold.
Okay.
And I'm the Government Affairs Manager at Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity. I'm joined here by two of my colleagues, Jessica Coyle and Sam Dyer. And in the interest of time, I can kick us off. So Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity is the largest affordable homeownership developer in the Twin Cities 7-county metro area. We have partnered with over 2,000 homeowners and 2,500 low-income homeowners as well in our home repair work. That's been since our inception in 1985. We realistically cannot do this work without our donors, our public partners, and our volunteers who help us actually build the homes. There we go. To give a little bit more context about the work that we do, we wanted to share kind of the different types of strategies we have in providing affordable homeownership options for our clients. First is the traditional build, which is what we're probably best known for. This is our new construction work on lots that have been either acquired through our public partners or through private partners as well. Additionally, we go out on the open market and acquire existing homes. We do modest rehab, mostly health and safety work, maybe additionally putting in more bedrooms or an additional bathroom that meets the needs of our clients going through the program. And finally, we have our open market, so folks can take our affordable mortgage product and shop on the open market like any other home buyer would. They have all the same benefits of our affordable mortgage product, with it set at 30% of their monthly income. Additionally, we have our next generation. So for all of the work that I've already mentioned, we have a purchase option on that mortgage. So when our homeowners go to sell, we have the first right of refusal, where we buy at fair market value and pair it with a new homeowner to make sure that affordability is maintained long-term. The average household income for our clients is $68,718. This kind of shows a little bit about the different professions that we have additionally of folks going through our program. We have majority of East and West African immigrants additionally applying through and going through our program. I really want to point out the African American percentage. About 5 years ago, that would have been closer to 3%. We've been working extremely hard to make our program more approachable and work for the clients that are going through it versus a one-size-fits-all method. And so we're really excited to see that success over the last 5 years through our special purpose credit program. Additionally, we have partnered with Wilder to do a qualitative research study, I would say around 10 years ago at this point, to look at the benefits of habitat home ownership. Through that, they saw that 91% felt better about their kids' future, 77% reported feeling safer in their homes now, 41% said that they visited the doctor less, 68% said their kids' grades improved. We saw overall dramatic reductions in public assistance, and 99% of those who went through this research study reported that these positive changes were due to their habitat home. I'm going to pass it off to my colleague to kind of share a little bit more about what we've done in Maplewood specifically and try to just make this hyper-specific.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Thank you. So Jessica Coyle, again, thank you for having us. I'm going to talk about kind of looking at historically the work that we've done with the city of Maplewood. So I'm going to start here with the most recent project. So currently we're under construction on 7 homes that we're calling BB Meadows. 2 of those homes we've recently completed and we have home buyers moved into. 2 are under construction. We're currently pouring foundations, and then 4 are planned for future. So this was a parcel that we purchased from a for-profit developer. They were deciding to exit the project, and we worked with them on acquiring the property and then fulfilling the commitments that they had made to the city of Maplewood and other partners. So really excited about this development. Would welcome y'all for a site visit if you haven't been out already. And one thing to highlight in this is once we started promoting this property to home buyers, they sold instantly. So there's a lot of interest, and it's been a great project so far and a great partnership. Historically, we've also, including the 2 completed projects, we have 15 home buyers that have purchased and moved in the city of Maplewood. Emily talked a little bit about our different product type and programs. So those 15 home buyers, that includes what we call habitat developed homes. So the new construction homes, BB Meadows is just an example of that, or the rehabilitated homes, so existing homes that we purchased and rehabbed. And then open market buyers who are shopping with down payment assistance, who are using that down payment assistance to purchase on the open market. That includes those home buyers as well. So that's a little bit historically what we've done with the city of Maplewood. And what one project I'd also like to highlight that we completed is, this is a good example of also, Emily kind of talked about the buyback process, and when a home buyer is deciding maybe to leave their home, purchase elsewhere, what that might look like. So this property on London Lane, an open market buyer using down payment assistance purchased this home on the open market, lived in it for a while, and then when they were ready to leave, as Emily mentioned, through our option to purchase that home, we decided to purchase that back and to continue the affordability and for the next buyer, keep that unit affordable, preserve that home ownership into the next buyer. We purchased that unit back with funding that we had received with Ramsey County. And so just wanted to highlight an example of one of those properties that has had 2 owners now, but one that we made it a large investment in to continue that affordability onto the future next home buyer. So I'm going to shift into and wanted to highlight kind of a case study. So recently, we've created some partnerships with cities as a way to kind of create some certainty around funding. So, this work is made more difficult with uncertainty and speculation, and so we've been thoughtful in creating some partnerships with aligning goals with our city partner, and then establishing budget and criteria and timelines. And so forth. And what that allows us to do is when we have that kind of commitment of funding up front, is then we can do our work better. We can be thoughtful on what opportunities we're pursuing. We can go into negotiation and conversations knowing that the funding is there. And then also that we can act quickly and we can be nimble as well when the right opportunity arises. So one of those partnerships I want to highlight is with the city of Roseville. So again, a couple things I want to touch on is we sat down with the city, and we'd be interested in sitting down with Maplewood to talk about what are the goals. Let's kind of form this partnership together. Let's, we're missionally aligned. Let's talk about, how we want to preserve affordable housing stock. What are our goals as the 2 entities, and then talk about what that financing might look like, what the cost might look like, what the timeline might look like. And so really wanted to highlight this is kind of a snapshot of one partnership that we've created, but really want to cater it to meet the needs of the community. A few things I thought might one thing to highlight kind of and run through, there's a lot of words on the screen right now. And so maybe the best way to describe what this partnership might look like is to kind of present a case study. I thought that could be helpful. And so kind of play out an example of what this might look like. So in partnership with the cities that we've promoted these programs. And through the promotion of the program, a seller in the community who was looking to sell their home learned about this program and was looking to sell their home and thought this could be an opportunity to explore as a way to sell their home. And so they really came to us because they were socially and mutually aligned. They had originally purchased their house with help from a family member, so they were unable to achieve home ownerships without the help of a family member, and so that was very important to them that they paid that forward, that they provided that opportunity for someone else in the community. They loved the community they worked and lived in, and they really wanted to see, they raised their family there, created a family there, they really wanted to see a family in that community. So they came to us, we negotiated the purchase of the home. The timing was important to them, so the financially having that commitment up front allowed them the flexibility for their next step, which was moving outside the community. So having that assurance from us, having the commitment, and then financially aligning that with the acquisition of their new property allowed them to make their new move with that certainty. So then we closed on the home. The funding for these two partnerships can come in at different times. So this one that I'm referring to right now, that funding comes in at closing, so closing with the home buyer. We do have a partnership where that funding comes in ahead of time, and so that allows us to use that funds to acquire the home, so we're not having an interest-bearing loan. So different ways that we have created this partnership and would want to create it in a way that works best for you as a community. One thing is, so when we take ownership of the home, as Emily mentioned, we do a lot of improvements focused on safety, health, and what that does is, again, allows us to, improve housing stock, maintain housing stock. This particular seller had lived in their home for a very long time. There was some deferred maintenance. And so we come in and we take care of that work before we sell that to a new home buyer. A new home buyer purchased this home. Their family is now working and going to school in the community. And so it's a great opportunity to, again, provide an opportunity for folks who are already in the community who want to stay in the community, adding some diverse tax base. So, yeah, we'd love to expand our partnership and do it in a way that is custom, but also draws from this experience, draws from these successes that we've had. And from that, I'm going to turn it over to one of my colleagues, Sam, and Sam will provide some additional information. Thanks.
Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sam Dyer, and I'm our public funding manager. So we feel that there are multiple benefits for any city, not just the city of Maplewood, in partnering with Twin Cities Habitat. One of the primary benefits of our program is that we build and rehab across the cities. We don't have just a few concentrated sites. Our scattered site approach allows us to deconcentrate collections of affordable housing, which allows community members to more organically integrate into existing community, to better use infrastructure and work with existing neighbors to build community. We also feel that a strength of our program is that we are able to preserve aging housing stock in a lot of first and second ring suburban communities. We've seen that housing stock can range anywhere from 50 to 100 years old, and those homes are often in need of repair, if not going to be in need of repair in the next generation. By providing full rehabilitation and updates before we sell the home to an affordable homeowner, we're able to, essentially make sure that that home is long-term a positive asset for that family, and we're not burdening them with a home that's going to cause them problems down the road. Habitat is also fortunate that we're able to provide flexible lending terms for our residents. Families who purchase Habitat homes are capped at 30% of their gross income for their first mortgage, which is the mortgage that they make full payments back to the lender on. We're able to provide additional support through both public funding and through our private fundraising efforts. Finally, we've seen that Habitat families really succeed in their homes. Our foreclosure rate is lower than the average foreclosure rate across the Twin Cities, and that's due to our strong post-purchase support. We're able to be flexible with families as they adjust to becoming first-time homebuyers. So we're seeing that not only are families able to live across the metro, they're able to succeed across the metro and build generational wealth in quality homes that serve beyond the initial homebuyer. I'd also like to talk a little bit about another new construction opportunity that we're in more of an exploratory phase for on Duluth Street. So we're planning to build 2 twin homes and 1 single-family home across the next several years, and we're hoping to break ground on that next year. As we're in the fundraising phase, we are asking several funding partners to join us in making sure that both the development gap, which is the difference between the cost to build the home and the appraised value of the home, and the affordability cap, which is the appraised value of the home and the ability of a low to moderate income family to pay for that home, are filled through a variety of public funds. We have a strong stack of public funds from federal sources, from the state of Minnesota, and from Ramsey County on many of our projects. We're looking to work closer with cities as federal funds tighten to continue that diverse funding stack and ensure that the needs of the immediate community are met in our new work. Currently at Duluth Street, we estimate a funding gap of around $50,000 a unit, which for 5 units would be a total investment from any given partner of $250,000. This would create 5 opportunities for new homeownership units, which would be kept long-term affordable through our deed restriction, which allows us, as Emily talked about a little bit, to purchase that home back from the home buyer when they're ready to sell, rehabilitate it, and ensure that it's living more than one life so that investment is honored for generations to come. I think our new construction, model is best known. It's kind of, people think of, President Carter and hammers and nails, but I think there's many benefits beyond having new homes built in your community. We see that as affordable housing is built in the community, it has benefits to the tax base. Families who are renters are now homeowners, and as they stay homeowners, they're contributing to the tax base in land that hadn't been paying the full property tax of a home before. We've also seen that with an increase of affordable housing units, families of all incomes and families who work a variety of professions that are essential to the support of a city or a county are able to live in their own community. Emily also touched on our work to improve the racial homeownership gap. We've been able to recognize that foundational Black Americans, or Black Americans who are descendants of slaves, have had historical barriers to accessing homeownership. Across the metro and across the country, that includes redlining, racial covenants, and racially restricted lending. We're leaders in the efforts to not just remove the legacy of those barriers, to break forward and allow families who have qualifying incomes but other circumstances that have limited them from building generational wealth and becoming the benefits of homeownership and living stably in communities that they invest in. Finally, we have a strong track record of developing long-term affordable units. In addition to the deed restriction I mentioned, we also partner frequently with land trusts and do our own land trusting. Land trusts allow us to preserve a home as affordable in perpetuity. So we, at the time of closing, a 99-year ground lease is signed, ensuring that all land trusted homes are perpetually affordable no matter how the price of the home might change, that the land trust is able to ensure that the next buyer is paying what they can afford and the home remains affordable. Finally, we're leaders in sustainable building practices. This includes implementation of solar panels, decarbonization efforts, and other green methods to ensure that our homes are energy efficient and serving our families and serving the community in the years to come.
All right, so just in summary, Twin Cities Habitat program guidelines, we work with first-time homebuyers, so anyone who has not owned a home within the past 3 years is how we define that. and they must be within 30 to 80% area median income. It is consistently falling between around that 50% area median income for those going through our programs, I would say. Some opportunities that we see for city partnership is through that acquisition rehab partnership Jessica spoke about. Like our relationship with the city of Roseville, we see that there is a lot of want to move to Maplewood. We have it's a very desirable area for our clients, and so we think that that would be a very great opportunity of a good bang for buck too. And then additionally, the Duluth Street development is a good opportunity for us to potentially partner to get that up off the ground and start running. Obviously, we've discussed quite a bit about the benefits of partnering with Habitat for Humanity around preserving and adding affordable housing stock, our available pre- and post-purchase support for Habitat home buyers, and then the ability to provide generational wealth building opportunities for folks. And with that, we are open for any questions.
Thank you, Emily, Jessica, and Sam. We really appreciate you bringing this information. I know one of the things that the council has talked about is the idea of increasing home ownership. And I really appreciate your presentation tonight. I see we have one question from Councilmember Villavicencio.
Yes, thank you. I love your presentation. Thank you very much. I think that this would fit really well for Maplewood. I think I really appreciate, both of rehabbing homes and then also some of the new construction that you have as well. One thought I had was, do you ever, when you do actually it could be for new construction or for rehabbing, you talk about sustainability, which I also very much appreciate. Do you also consider universal design features as well, so that folks, when they do purchase a home, they could maybe be that forever home? It could be an age-in-place type of situation.
Yeah, maybe this would be good to hand off to Jessica. She's a project manager and would probably have a little bit more information about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your question. Yes, we do. We look at both universal design. We also look at fully accessible units as well. So we're building some units right now in other areas that meet universal designs. We also look at visitability as well, so having a bathroom and a bedroom on the first floor. And so looking at from all of those lenses, aging in place, absolutely. And so 3 of the homes in the BB Meadows development are slab on grade and have an opportunity for the visitability and more of the universal design elements. And so in our conversations, we would want to lift that up if that's a priority and look for sites that allow for that design.
Thank you. Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, team, for being here tonight. The hard work that you continue to do is great for our community, so thank you for that. A couple quick questions for you guys, and you guys don't have to have the answers tonight, but just kind of hearing your presentation, just thinking through this. The first question I have is, on average, how long are people staying at the houses that you guys have? The second question that I have is then, how many you talked a little bit about having first right of refusal. How many of those, on average, are you refusing out of 100 houses or something? And then my last question then is, I think a huge component for me is building generational wealth. How much on average are people gaining in their net worth or assets after they sell their houses? You talked a little bit about fair market pricing, so I don't know if you have any of those responses tonight.
Yeah, so I believe we see homeowners stay for 20 years or more. I mean, those who end up selling their home do it for a variety of reasons, whether it's jobs requiring them to move, needing to upsize, needing to downsize. So we usually see our homeowners stay for quite a long time. I think we still have a lot of homes on the books from like back in 1985 that people are still in their homes from those first units. And so I think we started with a model of kind of forever home, and we're just starting to kind of implement a strategy where it's more of like a starter home, maybe to allow them to grow into the market as well. And so we see mostly people stay quite long term. For your, I'm sorry, can you remind me of your second question?
Yeah, just like one is it. So how many you guys have first right of refusal for before selling? How many are you guys refusing on average?
It is very rare that we refuse to buy a home that we have previously built just due to the amount of investment that we put into it. I would say the only reasons that we have refused previously was back in, I think, the 90s. We had a couple condos, and we decided not to repurchase those units just due to the fact that it was just a little bit more complicated, that we didn't want to take on that additional responsibility there. And then in a few other instances, there's times when the house appraises too high, especially for those early units where there was a zero interest mortgage on that. We just don't have the funds to be able to acquire that. But it's very, very rare that we would not purchase a home back.
Awesome. And just one other one is then, how much on average, do you have a number that people are gaining in net worth or assets after selling?
I'm not sure if I have that off the top of my head. I don't know if anyone else does.
I think that might be a question.
Do you want to step up to the
Yeah.
DS so we can hear you? Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have that information, but it is something that we could follow up
Awesome.
with you on that one.
If
Thank you
you
so
would please send it to Ms. Parr, and then she can disperse it to the council. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much for your presentation. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Danette, for bringing them to us tonight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
It was a great presentation. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
So, council members, we have a rather packed agenda tonight. What I am going to do is I am going to adjourn our city council manager workshop